All righty, here we go. Well, my guest today is Lorraine Murphy, and Lorraine is an award-winning entrepreneur, best-selling author, and speaker. She started her business, The Remarkables Group, in her spare bedroom in 2012, and that business went on to secure multi-million dollars in turnover. During her time in business, Lorraine and the company received several plaudits, including being named one of BRW's Fast Starters, Entrepreneur of the Year, Emerging Agency of the Year, Content Marketer of the Year, and Australian Startup of the Year. Wow. As well as being a finalist for the Telstra Business Awards. Lorraine has featured frequently in media, including The Project, Sunrise, The Today Show, Sydney Morning Herald, Collective Hub, Marie Claire, Sky News, ABC News, and The Australian. In December 2017, Lorraine sold the Remarkables Group in order to focus on her soul on fire work, writing, speaking, and mentoring. She is the founder of Bold Darling, a platform for female entrepreneurs who wish to grow their businesses without sacrificing themselves in the process. Lorraine now lives in Spain and has been married to a fellow entrepreneur, Wade, for 10 years, and is also a ridiculously proud mother of their daughter, Lexi, and son, Wilder. Lorraine Murphy, welcome to Perfect Public Speaking.
Thank you. I feel like I'm blushing after that intro. Thank you.
I find it's funny because you said
there's nothing more uncomfortable than sitting through your own bio.
Well, I can tell you obviously haven't heard it for a while because it still says you live in Sydney because you have recently moved to Spain. Tell me about how you got to be in Spain.
We did the move. Yeah, well, I'm obviously probably already guessed from my accent. I'm originally from Ireland and moved to Australia 14 years ago and met my boyfriend, which then became my husband, over there. And then as soon as I met him, it felt like, Australia was really my home. And then with COVID, I didn't get to see my family back in Ireland for 3 years and just missed out on, I felt so much. I went back to Ireland in July last year with a 1-year-old who my family had never met. And I had a 2-year-old nephew that I had never met. And my sister was, God, what was she? 5 months pregnant with my third niece or nephew who turned out to be a nephew. So it just felt like it was time to spend a little bit of time on this side of the world. Thankfully, the business that I've built enables me to work from anywhere. There was a few tweaks that I made to it over the last, once the decision was made to move to Spain, there was a few tweaks I made to the business just to make sure it was a very seamless transition to the other side of the world, which thankfully it has been. So yeah, it's our chance to do a bit of a Euro adventure. So we're using Spain as a base to get back and visit my family more frequently and do some travel around Europe as well. And it's just been a really, really good test to see. I think many people can say, oh, I can do my business from anywhere. So it's just been very interesting to test that theory myself over the last few months and just see what needed to be tweaked in the business in order for this to be the transition that it's been. Oh. So yeah, hence the Spain move.
Oh, you are living proof that it can work. I'm very, very jealous. And I'm sure you just hot-footed all over Europe whenever you feel like it.
Everywhere's 2 hours away, Jamie. Everywhere. It's crazy.
Unlike here in Australia.
I can't get my head around it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been Australianized in that sense. Like you're just so used to everything being so far away. Or, and this is something that I couldn't get my head around when I moved to Australia. You get on a flight for, 5-6 hours and you're still in the same country. Like I just couldn't. I don't think I can still get my head around that. So yes, it's been really, really great to be here.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I've been in your world for a little bit. I'm on your mailing list and I listen to your podcast. And so I'm a little bit starstruck to have you on my show. But there's so many.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So there's so many things I could have asked you about today. I could talk probably all day, do a mini workshop with you. And, you talk about personal, you can just go to Lorraine's website, which I'll link in the show notes, and you can just see all the different things that Lorraine specializes in, everything from personal branding to entrepreneurship and mindset. And I love talking about mindset. But probably my main overarching question and interest, and for a lot of our listeners, is what makes someone a successful entrepreneur compared to someone who's not? Is that an easy answer?
It is and it isn't. I think so. As you shared, a lot of my work is mentoring mostly female entrepreneurs. So whether that's within my membership group, which is Bold Darling, or it's more my high level one-on-one mentoring. So I've got mentees that I've worked with for 4+ years. So I think there's definitely hallmarks to what makes the I guess what separates the people who really make it in terms of, and I do believe that making it is, it's very individualist of what that looks like for each of us. So if we're to think about the traditional kind of trappings of making it, it's the revenue, it's the team size, it's the not feeling like you're on the tools yourself constantly in your business, that you've got to, you get to work in your zone of genius as much as you possibly can. So I think the key differences between those who are running businesses and feel like they're really thriving in their businesses versus those who are on struggle street and feel like they're on that hamster wheel of not making progress. One is planning, like actually consistently planning their businesses. So whether that's annual planning, I'm a big advocate for a quarterly plan. So a 90-day plan, which is what I work with my mentees. And it's actually built into my Bold Darling group that every 90 days we have a full day together, which is devoted to quarterly planning. So I think that's a huge difference, because I think if we're not taking that time to step out of our business, review where we have been, plan where we're going, where we're going forward, then the problem is that we never get off that hamster wheel. We're constantly in the, the doing of the do in the business rather than being on the business. So I think that's one huge, I guess, distinguisher of those businesses that do really go that extra mile versus those who don't. I think a second one as well is resilience. I think we underbake how important resilience is in business. I was just mentoring one of my mentees this morning, and she had a really tough time during COVID. Her and her husband put in quite a bit of their own personal money into the business. It was a mindset marathon with her. Thankfully I was her mentor for all that time, and she really had to dig deep in terms of her own personal resilience. And she had one experience last year that really nearly broke her mindset wise, and she has constantly had to come back and pick herself up and commit to keeping going. I know all entrepreneurs that I've had the pleasure of spending time with, whether it's my friends, my mentors, my mentees, have at least one time they've considered just giving it all up, because surely something is easier than walking this business path. And I think the ones that succeed are the ones that have built that, almost like that well of resilience, that they can keep showing up and doing it. And I know, Jamie, from our past conversation, it's something you've had to do, having those experience of really intensely challenging professional experiences that you've had to navigate. And what got you through those is your resilience. And it's a testament to you that you're now growing the brilliant business that you're growing, because it's that thing of, you wouldn't be sitting where you're sitting, and I wouldn't be sitting where I'm sitting if I didn't find the resilience to get through those challenges. So I think that's a huge one. And I think it's something that's not talked about enough in entrepreneurship circles. It's almost that entrepreneurship has become this trendy, cool, exciting thing where it's like that famous picture of Richard Branson, and he's sitting on his hammock with his laptop, and that's not the reality of life 99% of the time. Running a business, as you will, I'm sure, be testament to as well. So I think that piece about resilience is huge. And I think the third piece as well is it's nurturing that growth mindset. The entrepreneurs that I really see succeeding are the ones who are curious, they're ambitious, they're open to new ideas. I'm sure you've had people in your world as well who you're coaching them on speaking, and they know better. They don't want to hear it, or they just want to do it like they've always done it, because whether that's safe or all the different reasons. So if someone isn't nurturing that growth mindset and aren't open to growing, then they don't grow, and therefore their businesses don't grow. I really love one of my very first mentors, and now one of my dear friends, is Jack Delosa, who's the founder of the Entourage. And I remember him saying many, many, many years ago that a business will never outgrow its founder. So if we're not growing as founders and business owners, then the business is never going to grow. We will always keep the business playing small because we're playing small ourselves. And I think it's so incredibly powerful, the work that you do in terms of helping people step into their potential as speakers and as thought leaders, because you're helping them step up and really move forward in an area that they probably wouldn't if they were left to their own devices. So yeah, I could probably do a whole day workshop on that.
Yes,
they're my headlines.
Oh, that was great. So I just want to take you back to the first thing you talked about, because I'm probably in that sort of area where you explained I'm doing a lot that I should be outsourcing, and outsourcing is probably just one part of letting go and being able to scale. And it's funny, I've been doing a bit of mindset stuff lately. I read Denise Duffield Thomas's book, Chill and Prosper.
Chill and Prosper, she changed the name. Yeah, it's so good.
Updated. Yeah, and it's all about the golden goose and protecting that. And I did some mindset training recently, and one of the things they said to me was, if you knew your success was inevitable. So you thought, I want to be earning $1 million a year.
No matter what you do, you're going to get there.
Yeah. So if you knew, like someone said to you, I can tell you now in 2 years, you're going to be earning $1 million. What would you do today knowing that you're going? And for me, I'd be like, well, I'd get a nanny. I've got 2 little kids. But how do you know? Because obviously financial decisions come into play here. You think, well, I'm not earning enough yet to be able to put a full-time marketing manager on. Or I'm not earning enough yet to get an au pair or a nanny or something like that. Is it a matter of just assuming you're going to be successful and taking that risk and saying, well, I'm going to invest in this because it's the only way I can piggyback off that and grow? What's your advice around that?
I mean, I think on a very granular level, I come back to the hourly rate, you know, of my time versus time with in the business or with family or whatever it might be. And I think there's some really obvious low-hanging fruit that I see a lot of entrepreneurs still holding on to. So one is doing their own bookkeeping, which just to me, it's just, I did it. And the reason I kind of can roll my eyes is because I did this for the first 6 months of my first business 11 years ago. And I said, I'm just going to do my own bookkeeping. I kind of enjoyed tinkering around with Xero. But the thing is, I wasn't doing it properly. It was the task that I procrastinated most on because I didn't know how to do it. And it wasn't a priority. It wasn't revenue generating, obviously. And I fucked it up so bad. I made so many mistakes with Xero. And then I had to pay an accountant even more to come and actually unpick the mess that I had made. So I think just the low-hanging fruit is the bookkeeping, the tech support, a calendar, like just diary coordination. I've outsourced my diary management for, I would say 8 years now. I've had someone for the last 8 years where I can CC someone else in. So for example, Jamie, you reach out about a podcast interview. And then I say, I would love to, Jamie, that sounds wonderful. For 8 years, I have had someone that I can CC in and say, blah, well, look, I say Sam is my brilliant operations manager now. So as I've CC'd Sam and she'll coordinate dates with you. So just those things that aren't you when you're most potent. I think a lot of entrepreneurs really do hold on to that. And it's taking time away from the real earth-shattering stuff that they could be doing in their business. So if I'm, sitting there doing my own bookkeeping, that's 4 hours that I could be, as you've correctly identified, updating my speaker's bio, for example, getting out there and thinking about what's that next program that I want to create, or reaching out and doing some kind of extra hand-holding with some of my mentees. There's so much more potent things that I can be doing.
Yeah, it's not just it's the brain space, the brain energy,
the bandwidth.
Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my friends, Tracy Harris, you may know her. She has a brilliant business called Moms with Hustle.
I'm in her mastermind. That's who I was.
Oh, no way!
I'm in her
I love Tracy.
And we just
I got to have breakfast with her just before we left Sydney. I was like, I'm so glad we got to hang out before I left again.
You were kidding. So I'm in her inner circle mastermind with Carl and her.
Oh, brilliant!
I've just joined it this year, and
brilliant.
I love her. I love Carl. I just love their brains, and that was. Yeah. Things they said. If you know in 2 years' time your success is inevitable, what would you do today? And so it really stood out to me. I can't believe it's such a small world. Yeah. Of course you know her.
But anyway, sorry, why was I telling you? Oh yeah, I was saying Tracy has a term called mental calories. I don't know if like brain calories. So it's a matter of thinking, okay, if you've got X amount of calories that you want to spend over a day, how do you want to spend them? And mine is not bookkeeping.
But you learned that the hard way. That's funny. I've recently just outsourced my bookkeeping for the very first time. Shout out to Sophie. And it's great. I don't have to think about anything. Yeah.
Because she has taken on the mental load of that. It's not on you anymore.
Yeah, so worth it. So worth it. So on the issue of resilience, and I guess a big part of resilience is mindset. And this time last year, I probably wouldn't even have had you on my podcast because mindset is a big part of what you do. And I didn't buy into it. I thought, oh yeah, whatever. Just give me the systems, give me the procedures, tell me what I need to do for a launch. And I now know, and that's why I'm in mastermind like Tracy and Carl's mastermind. I mean, Tina Towers, her empire builder as well, because mindset is really important. And I see those around me who are succeeding, and it is the mindset that really sets them apart. So for someone who doesn't know that or doesn't know what they need to do to get into that successful entrepreneur's mindset, what's your advice there?
Such a good question. I was just reminded as you were talking there about something, Emma Isaacs. I feel like I'm name dropping like a mofo in this episode. Emma Isaacs, who's the CEO of Business Chick, said to me years ago, I was hesitating on making an investment in my business. And she said, Lorraine, you know what? I've realized that 90% of business is mindset. So I think that's kind of the light that you have seen as well, because I realized it back then when she said it to me. And I think in terms of kind of really nurturing your mindset, it almost sounds counterintuitive, but it comes back to actually looking after your body. And I can speak with full transparency to you today. I have been working kind of, it's almost like shift work, I realize, because I get up quite early in the morning in order to talk to my one-on-one mentees back in Australia. And so I've been doing that. We just went back to Ireland. So we were kind of doing the kind of late dinners, early mornings. It was just the candle at both ends thing. And I just wasn't sleeping. I had a shocking 2 really, really terrible nights sleep. And yesterday, I honestly feel like the world was coming down around me. I felt awful. And last night had a brilliant sleep, and it's like my whole day has changed. So I think we can often underestimate the power of just the basics, like the sleep, the eating well, the hydration, the not over caffeinating or over alcoholing ourselves. If that it doesn't work for our bodies. Because I think it can get quite competitive. I know Arianna Huffington talked about this a lot in her book Thrive. The whole almost like the sleep competition, like who got less sleep. And I do think that conversation's changing now in business circles. Thankfully, people are waking up to that. But it's a very kind of macho, push yourself really hard, override, what your body's telling you. So I think just first of all, in terms of that resilience, I do think it comes from, because I had zero resilience yesterday. One cranky text message from my mom would have sent me over the edge yesterday. So I think it's just about looking after those basics and making sure that almost like we're parenting ourselves, just like if we're parents, we would parent our children. So I think that's number one. I think the second is having people who get it around you. I can be having a shocking day in business, like a launch isn't going well, or I'm really panicked about cash flow or revenue or whatever it might be. And a 10-minute conversation with some of my business besties. So I've got 3 best friends, 4 actually, who are in business and who just get it. They're the people that I can just call and go, this is fucked. And they get it. And it's not like they can fix it for me, or it's not like I need them to fix it or give me some pearl of wisdom that's going to change my whole perspective, even though they often do that, which is amazing. It's more just that it's seen, and that space is being held for me as a business owner, and the challenge that I'm having. So I think having those people around you who get it, and you don't need 70 people, like even just one person, a business bestie who you can go have a coffee with and who just gets it. I honestly feel having an hour with one of my business besties, it like keeps me going for weeks to come. So I think that's really, really important. And I think the third thing is investing in the experts. So having the coaches. I see my kinesiologist religiously. If I'm in launch period and a really full on period of my business, I see her twice a week. So just clearing before I manifest all the self-sabotage behaviors, it's just clearing it all before it even gets into reality. Having the brilliant people like you have, like Tina, Tracy, like exceptional women in this online space, having those people who you can tap and who've been there before and who can, I like to see mentoring and coaching as almost like more so mentoring, because I kind of see mentoring as you've been there before, you've walked the path and you're helping someone else walk it after you. It's like you're walking down a path and there's someone else who's spotting the potholes because they've already fallen into those potholes, and they're saying, they're just watch, I did that. You probably don't want to think about that, do that. It's just that person who has your back, I think is really, really important.
I love that. I love that analogy with the potholes. It's funny, I've got a business buddy. He's a physio, and we've just met through a local networking group. We have nothing in common. He hates 80s music, like Delta Goodrem. He hates Delta Goodrem and loves all, Bad Religion and all those people. We've got nothing in common. We have not in the same worlds, but we are connecting as far as our goals go, and it's been really motivating for me and for him to have someone to be able to do quarterly business planning sessions with and accountability buddies with. And I love how you use that analogy. You check in with your business besties. Do you think, because this is really, oh God, I didn't have any questions prepared today because I knew you would just give
and now we've got loads.
I love it. So, I have a lot of friends, my mum's group friends, for example, my political friends, and they don't get the online world. And so do you think it's really important that I seek out those fellow like-minded entrepreneurs who do get it? Because it is a lonely world being an entrepreneur, let alone an online digital entrepreneur. Yeah. Do you think it's really important that we build our tribe of like-minded, go-getting entrepreneurs, if you are that way inclined? Is that really a key to your success?
Yeah, I think so. And I think for me, this Lorraine Murphy business is my second business. My first was a social media agency. And even back then I had friends who were running and creating similar businesses. And those friends are still doing those. They haven't transitioned into the personal brand business as of yet, and they may not. So I think, yeah, even just having one person who gets it. But I feel, I mean, for your situation, Jamie, where you're in, I feel, I mean, you've got your ass covered completely in that sense, because you've got her Empire Builder and you've got Tracy's Mastermind. You're actively seeking out those connections. So as I said, it can just be one person, and that one person can change your whole world. If I'm mentoring someone and it's a new mentee and we're just getting to know each other, it's a real red flag for me when they don't have anyone else who's walking the business path, whether it's a similar business model to theirs or not. Because as you said, it's so lonely. It really, really is incredibly lonely. And the online element just adds to that. You know, I'm planning 2 international retreats next year, because I'm already kind of future proofing myself. Like, I need the people, I need real life people with me. And before I left Sydney, I've got annual mentees, and I spent a full day. I had a VIP day with each of them in January, because I was almost seeing that, like filling our tanks up together and filling my in-person tank up as well. So yeah, I think even if it's just one person, it's really key.
Is it a matter of dropping those people that used to be in our lives? Because, I mean, sometimes I get a bit of criticism from my friends. They'll say, why are you doing reels? Why are you? I mean, my accountant, who is not one of these people, but he'll always give me shit and say, every time I turn Facebook on, there's a reel from you dancing. I mean, he's just joined my PR club, so he's probably not the best example. But it's an example of, you know, you get this negative or, you know, kind of, you know, in jest criticism from those who don't get it, especially in the online world. They're not doing reels. My accountant's not doing reels. And do you need
It's an interesting thing you've asked. I don't think it's about getting rid of those people, because the thing is, your mom's group friends and, you know, my mom friends, they really speak to the mom hat that I have. You know, Lorraine is a mom. So I think it's almost thinking about, I love Taylor Swift's song Mirror Ball, you know, the fact that we've all got like different facets of ourselves, and we reflect different parts of ourselves to different people in our worlds. But what I have found is that, and it's a weird one, right? I don't feel like I've ever gotten the kind of the judgment from other women about my life choices. But I think it's because it's almost like not Teflon. What am I talking about? Yeah, Teflon. It's Teflon. It doesn't stick.
Bounces off.
Because I know that I've got those other women who do get it. And it's almost like I value their opinion so much more than those who might be commenting on my business, but they're not in that space. So I think there's an insurance policy around having the people around you who do get it and who are making similar life choices, that if we do get some criticism from people who don't get it, that it's not the end of the world, because we know that there's a validation in it and a sense of, if you think about it, as humans, one of our core needs is belonging. And we have that sense of belonging, even if it's just that one person who does get it.
Yeah, so you almost need to have like your own personal board of directors. So you've got your people you need to talk to about breastfeeding challenges, you know, when you're
I love that idea.
You need your cheer squad, you need your advice person who's going to give you that hard advice. It's not going to sugarcoat things. You need to have that whole different board around you.
And think about it, they're just mirroring all the different parts of you, like the kind of the tough love side, but also the side that actually just needs a hug and a warm cup of cocoa. Like this, all those different facets of you, and we just seek those different people out to reflect those back to us.
Yeah, it's funny because Tracy Harris, who you mentioned, she's very direct with the feedback she gives me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
At first, I didn't like it, so I had my PR club and I put I hope she won't mind me sharing this because she might be listening. So I put it out. I had 33 founding members by the time the first masterclass came off, and I put a celebration post in our little Facebook group for the mastermind. And she basically said, "That's great, but have you done your debrief, launched the figures? How many people have gone to annual? Where'd they come from? Where?" And I'm like, "Hold on a minute, I just want to celebrate." And she's like, "Sure, celebrate. However," and I kind of like got a bit defensive at first, but then I realized, well, hold on, no. She's on my board of directors, but not there to make me feel good. She's there to keep making me perform and strive to do better. That's her purpose. I don't need her to blow my trumpet if that's the right thing.
Yes.
So I think it's a matter of recognizing all the different things you need and putting people in those roles to pump up your tires and to make you keep doing better. So yeah, really great advice there.
Love.
Yeah. Anything else further you should add before we let you go? I know that you've got so much knowledge about, you know, helping entrepreneurs and helping people scale and helping people become the best business owner they can be. Anything else further you'd like to add?
I think I'd probably just underline what we've talked about, because I think, if we open up another conversation, we'll be going for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I think it's more just about acknowledging that I do think we get sold the bright, shiny version of what business can be, particularly online business. You know, the whole idea, if you do a launch and you make 75K and then, you know, you're sweet, but no one sees the amount of work that goes into that launch and the work that then obviously you do to deliver a great product to your clients and whoever has, you know, invested their hard-earned money and time in you. So I think it's just about acknowledging that it's not the easy. Tricky, right? You could kind of say it's easier to work for someone else and go down that path. But I like to be the captain of my own ship, and I much rather put my fate in my own hands than in some kind of middle manager's hands. That was a decision that I made, you know, 12 years ago to do that. So I think it's just acknowledging that it is a tough road, but I think having the right support around you, looking after yourself, and almost seeing the looking after yourself, whether it's exercise or it's meditation or having the friends around you or having a really beautiful bottle of wine at the weekend, whatever it is that really fills you up, seeing that as essentially an insurance policy against future challenges. So when those curveballs do happen, because it's not an if, it's a when in business, when they do happen, that you are the most resilient, the strongest version of you that you can be in order to navigate those curveballs.
Oh, absolutely. Lorraine, thank you so much for coming on
Thank you.
to the podcast today. I know you're all over in Spain and you were so busy. It was great liaising with your operations manager to lock you in. I was stoked when you said yes. So if you'd like to know more, we'll put, if you're listening to this now, like to know more about how you can work with Lorraine, you can look at the information in the show notes. But for now, thank you so much, Lorraine Murphy, for coming on today.
Thank you. It was a delight.
Bye. Bye.